Oh my god. Eat my cookies. Yeah, I wanted to make sure I got all my stuff set up properly this time. Uh, Fishing tournaments next weekend, Easter weekend. Had one last weekend, off this weekend. Fishing the next. Paste playlists, live streams. Altered content. What is that? Meaning the following describe your content. Makes a real person appear to say or do something they didn't say or do. Alters footage of a real event or place. Generates a realistic looking scene that didn't actually occur. No? I've never seen that option before. That was weird. Still got you in my ear. Roger that. House rule, no devices at the table. I agree with that rule. As I sit at the table with a device. I'm just getting all my tags and stuff uploaded to the video. Beep boop lettuce. Just went and saw Ghostbusters. All my cookies are gone. The delay in me responding to comments is probably because I'm on another page trying to get the video set up still. That'll do that. Save. Met a few new folks here in the hood. Good chats, trying to fill people out. Got a possibly friendly addition channel called Grunt Proof. Posted a list of folks with skills to know before things go bad. How was the new Ghostbusters? Yeah, Grunt Proof's been popping up in my feed quite a bit. I'm doing a live feed. What's up? You see any ghosts? Yep. You did? Cool. Ghostbusters was cool. I enjoyed it. The children that were unparentally advised sitting in front of me, I don't know how old they were. They were old enough to be extremely disrespectful. And I had a extreme father moment right as the movie cranked up. First scene wasn't even done with, and they would not shut up. So I ended up punch is a strong word. I don't want to use punch. Uh, open heel, palm fisted, whatever you want to call it, the back of this young man's chair, quite hard, and almost sent him out of his chair. And then I leaned in between both of them and told them that I will not be listening to them talk to the entire movie. And they got real quiet after that, and I enjoyed the rest of my movie. Participation trophies got us. Yeah. Sad part was though, their parents were in the theater with them. They were just sitting in the back. So, and apparently, mom and dad didn't even see me yeet young man out of his seat, which I thought was pretty funny. Oh, here comes number two. I'm live streaming. What's up? Shut the door. No, you're good. It's dark, ain't it? Yeah, y'all need to be in. We got a big day tomorrow. We're going camping tomorrow, right? Yep. Gotta load the old war wagon up tomorrow morning. Going to a state park.
No, shut up. What are you?
Boom, 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 boom. How was y'all's week? I ain't talking to you, bro. Talking to the people on the internet. I already know how your week went. Hey, leave those dogs alone. Well, get out. You're making them fight. Hush. Shadow, make your puppies be quiet. Hey, hush. Knock it off. Oh. I think the last live stream we talked about internet hate and people trash talking the channel, and how I talked about open dialogue is one thing, but trash talking is another thing. Well, just as soon as I said that, boy, I had a troll this week. Uh, the last short that I uploaded, they said LARPing, LOL, something like that. And I was like, of course it's LARPing. LARPing is practice. And obviously it was some super liberal, entitled person that thinks that there's absolutely nothing wrong with the world, because then they tried to justify that only active military, active law enforcement should train with firearms and tactical gear and all this other stuff, that regular civilians don't need to mess with any of that stuff. It's not their place. And it was like, best of luck to you, dude. Hush! God dang! Which one of y'all's instigating it? Hey, no. No. Come here. No. Go back in there. Go back in there. Go back in there. Here. Look. You're on the internet. Could complain, but it doesn't help and doesn't make a difference. I just man up, cowboy up, jump in the saddle, and ride it out like John Wayne would. Same trolls that complain and make stupid comments are the same folks that won't be capable. That's 100% correct. Exactly. Professional chefs, like the people that tease and poke fun at, people that are LARPing, like, yeah, 100% it's LARPing, but does that mean that high school football, high school baseball, semi professional sports, anytime anyone practices anything, does that mean that that should all be left to active professionals? It's like, no. On top of that, I've worked with, bro, dogs. What are y'all doing? Like a bunch of angry raccoons in here. Um, I've worked with a lot of military, a lot of law enforcement, private security, like high speed dudes, guys that have seen horrific things, been through horrific things, and my hat's off to you. Thank you for your service. But if you're not actively at the range, straight up burning it down, sharpening those skills, then just shut your mouth. I don't care what you've done. Like I said, thank you for your service, for what you did and the sacrifices you've made. And in the words of Les Grossman from Tropic Thunder, now shut the hell up and let me do my job. I've gone through too many courses and trained with too many guys that couldn't hit the broadside of a barn with their pistol or their rifle, but they'll sit there and say, "Oh yeah, give me a 240 Bravo." It's like, okay, well, you're just a Neanderthal. I get it now. Real life isn't a flat range. 100%. That's something that I'm going to be doing a lot more of uh, every time I go out to the range is getting away from the flat range type stuff. Like I've I've got a video coming up that is basically like an entire range session without firing a single round, and all the stuff that you can do to sharpen your skills, dry fire wise, that people neglect. Why are you shaking, Mr. Bigglesworth? Not only that, but terrain wise, um, flat, unimpeded, no obstacles. Um, people think that setting up barrels and barricades on a flat range ups the ante, but really, when you're going up and down rough terrain, loose rocks, gravel, sticks, thick brush, that kind of stuff right there, that's what really takes it up a notch and becomes really beneficial because it gets you out of your comfort zone. Anytime you can train and still hold on to the fundamentals, not losing sight of the fundamentals of your training and the fundamentals of safety, but then anything that you can do to get yourself out of that comfort zone is always going to be beneficial. It's always going to be a plus because outside the comfort zone is where progress is made. Everything else is just repetitive motion. Real world environmental issues, yeah. Like, biggest hurdle is rolling your ankle. That's the biggest thing. People think it's like jumping over large obstacles and, you know, breaching doors and rappelling off of walls. It's like, no, dude. Stepping down from flat level surface to uneven, rocky, loose rocks, that's your biggest foe right there. Freaking roll that ankle and then you eat shit. But implementing that with non-conventional shooting positions, um, that's why I don't really run a bipod uh, on my rifles anymore. I'll use it like whenever I want a zero and get a high level of consistency on the prone table, but like real life scenario, even if you have the opportunity to go prone out in the wild, chances are you're not going to have an open flat surface to put your bipod. Um, and then if you're outside, unless you're laying down in the middle of a freshly manicured cut lawn, you're probably not going to be able to see over the grass anyways. Yeah, weight transfer. Weight transfer is a big one, um, and it is 100% resolved in LARPing. Every time you go out, you don't necessarily have to be in full kit every single time. It's not mandatory, but as much as you can, train in what you would fight in, because that weight transfer and knowing how stuff shifts on your body, um, that's going to get locked into muscle memory. Beep boop, beep boop, beep boop, beep boop, beep boop, beep boop. We only train on days that are perfect conditions. Go get wet, miserable, muddy. Train in what you fight. Get comfortable being uncomfortable. She's my prop.
What's that mean?
Well, she's in the video. I think she sees you though, so here. We'll put her up. And when they start howling like raccoons, I'll get them back out again. Uh, yeah. Training in the rain. Um, a lot of people, rain especially, they think that the biggest hurdle is just the precipitation itself, the aspect of being wet. Well, yeah, one, that's uncomfortable, but your biggest hurdle with rain is going to be optical clarity, whether your stuff fogs up or not, um, whether or not your optics were purged or sealed properly. You'll find that out real quick. The quality of optics. But then, it sucks. We spend our hard earned cash on some of this equipment, and it's kind of a roll of the dice. But take it out there and get it muddy, get it wet, get it nasty, and if it survives, then you know that it's good to go in the real deal. This past year, we had one day that it snowed, and we had snow on the ground, and I wanted to go out and film so bad in it just because it was gross and nasty, but kind of cool looking at the same time. But I didn't get a chance to. Oh, be careful with your choice of words. We are soft, but we can get harder. Yeah, dude, Washington was a freaking beast. Uh, Probably slightly autistic. That dude went hard. Everybody's like, oh, no one's crazy enough to cross the Delaware right now. And he was like, bet. Full send. Yeah, pretty much everybody back then was way harder than folks nowadays. We're so watered down and pacified. It's ridiculous. And then, of course, he made the great quote, stay strapped or get clapped. Oh, man. I know in our area, our neck of the woods, um, there's already, it's all the wives on Facebook, but everybody's already starting to freak out about that solar eclipse. And they're like, make sure you got gas in your car, make sure you got groceries and all that stuff. And it's like, you need to be, as well equipped as possible, 24/7. But when you start hearing those whispers of stuff like that, to where everybody's gonna freak out for no reason, you kind of have to get ahead of the curve with that. So about 2 weeks out, week and a half. So probably next week I'll start ramping stuff up around the house, make sure everything's good to go. Um, make sure our water reservoirs are filled. Make sure the extra fuel stuff is filled because these people are bad. They don't buy gas in moderation. As soon as they know everybody's hitting the pumps, that thing will be sucked dry within an hour. I say that all the time. Heck yeah. It's silly, but it's words to live by. Stay strapped or get clapped. Speaking of getting clapped, I got my last piece for my Glock Dagger hybrid. So I'm going to be doing a video on that pretty soon. Um, Glock 19X frame, dagger slide, dagger barrel, and then I got the I wanted to go with Sightmark's M2 closed emitter pistol optic because it's freaking amazing. But the pro staff rep that I talked to, he said they're sold out completely right now, and it's going to be a minute before they get more in. So I went ahead and got one of those Siley Bears. So it's the Chinese knockoff, but supposedly all the reviews I watched online, those things are freaking built like a tank. It's all it is a Swamp Fox clone. So I'm gonna take that out to the range here pretty soon and do a video on it, put it through its paces, that whole setup, and then we advertised them in previous videos like a while back. But there's a local FFL that we work with called Grumpy Man Ventures. So if y'all get a chance, I think he's on Instagram and Facebook. Uh, Super cool dude. I think he's got the Dagger Micro, those new subcompact ones. He's got a couple of those that he wants me to do a review on, so I'll have a review on those pretty soon. It was the same up here for the last eclipse. So many people in all the little towns, they just sucked up all the resources in the area. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Forgot who makes it. There's a Dagger Enhanced Magwell that is on market now. I run mag funnel on my 19 and 19X. On your 19X, you said you trimmed the magwell that's already on it, right? Because I thought there was only one company out there that was making a legit stock magwell for it because it's got that little flared part at the bottom. I know daggers, they've got a whole bunch of them you can get on Amazon and stuff that are 3D printed that have that, since they have that little cutout fits in there. The only one I've been able to find for the 19X is, I'll just look it up. I'm tired of guessing. It's like $100 though. SLR Rifle Works. For the old 19X. I don't know, there could be more. That's the only one I'm seeing though. Nub on the front of the grip, grind that off, and magwell and mag extensions will fit. Huh. Grind off the nub. Nub has to get trimmed. You got to trim that nub. I do want to get one of those eventually. It's not super high on my list because I really don't have like I wouldn't say issues reloading, but that doesn't necessarily mean you have issues if you have a magwell, because I used to have one on my old Canic, and it just makes it way faster and way easier to reload. But Cogworks, their extended slide lock slide release for Glocks, my sheriff's deputy buddy let me try his out on his 19, and I didn't even know that existed. And that's a game changer right there, because I shoot real high and tight, and I don't I don't consistently ride the slide stop to where it's like every mag change you got to tap rack to get it to lock back. It's inconsistent on where my the ass of my thumb sits, but it's enough to be annoying. And when he showed me that Cogworks extended slide stop, I was like, dude, is like a perfect spot, absolute perfect. Yeah, magwells do help with grip. Especially, yeah, I've got pretty big hands, but if your hands are bigger than mine, then those magwells suck it up tight. That's what I liked on my Canic. Yeah, I stippled my Canic and my old VP9. I don't remember if I stippled that one. Just a bro, I can't even think of what they're called. Oh, it's been a long day. What is it? The freaking hot pin. Wood burners. Just get a nice sharp tip on there. Get it nice and hot. Get a whole lot of patience. It's pretty easy to do a good stipple job as long as you got like the outline marked pretty well. Would anyone be interested in adding icing resistance services to pistols? I imagine shooting picosecond lasers on some places on 1911s to make the surfaces super hydrophobic. I guess I don't understand what that means. First, last. Icing resistance services to pistols. You'll have to reword that. I used to use mechanics gloves, and they're super awesome. But I think it was 2 years ago. I was like, "What the hell? I'll be trendy," and I bought a pair of pig gloves, and that's the only thing I'll buy now. Pig gloves are freaking awesome, and I got big old meat paws as well. But the thing with some of the mechanics, not all of them, but a lot of those, supposed tactical gloves, you lose a lot of dexterity and fine motor movement and that detailed precision in your fingertips. You lose that in big gloves. And with the pig gloves, um, it's still not, perfect like with what your hand would have, but it's pretty dang close and it offers a lot of protection. Um, First Tactical makes a shooter's glove that is a lot like Magpul's. That's what I was issued at my last job, and they work excellent for shooting, but it's such a thin cloth that if you got to do any kind of hardcore work, it's just going to tear right through it. So it's like minimal amount of protection. A metal surface so smooth your safety selector would never be stuck in freezing conditions. I mean, that sounds pretty cool. It never gets cold enough here to where my safety gets stuck. You'll have to elaborate on that some. Pig gloves, thin ones, the mechanics I have at work all the time. Free from the employer. Oh yeah, dude, free. Free is the best. Food's here. I'm listening, but can't type. I enjoy your food. I had popcorn for dinner. Popcorn and chocolate covered almonds. Oh man. The the pig gloves are good. First tacticals, those are decent for shooting. Um, but I usually carry two sets of gloves on me. Your tactical gloves, and then I carry like just an old leather pair of gloves, old Carhartt gloves, just regular Tractor Supply gloves on me. Um, I keep those tucked on my chest rig. You get a computer to shoot lasers on metal surfaces. Surface of the metal is like a lotus leaf. Water would slide right off that surface after laser treatment. Okay, so you're talking about laser engraving. Laser engraving metal to make it waterproof. I guess is what I'm interpreting. What's up? You need something?
I just came out here, but I'm trying to be quiet because I have to finish this.
Okay, yeah. Go for it. Let's see what else I put in there. Internet trolls and camping. Yeah, the trolls definitely came out this week for sure. So much so. CW, what's up, guys? What's up? Welcome, welcome. BSing with the homies right now. The anytime anybody throws shade, like unprovoked, just like doesn't give a crap about learning anything, just throwing shade, and I'm about to fire back at that individual, I always go look up their profile and see what's up. And this person, I couldn't tell if it was the way they spoke was kind of like possibly a dude, but all the channels it was subscribed to was like 9 and 10-year-old girls. It was creepy as all get out. So we had an engagement back and forth, and then apparently I took the individual off so much so that they literally went through every single one of my videos and was leaving hate on all of my videos, which normally I really don't care, but I don't know, something was off. So I went in there and blocked my first person. I was just done, done with that. Usually, if me and an individual are going back and forth, throwing shade at each other through comments, I like to leave it on there for everybody to see. I've got several followers that's what they enjoy most about this channel is the snide comments. But no, I wasn't having that one. Y'all all know that I'm always open to dialogue. You got a problem or you got a question or a concern or whatever the case may be, like let's talk it out. Everybody's here to learn. I'm gonna start clicking buttons again, guys. Hang on. I'm just clicking buttons. I put a poll up. What's your opinion on barrel length for 5.56 guns in urban environments? Why does the algorithm put that kind of user with you? Um, Long form videos, the algorithm's pretty good about grabbing people that uh, love this kind of content. But for YouTube Shorts, I use YouTube Shorts to try and draw people in that haven't seen the channel at all. That's why my shorts are usually just like goofy stuff or funny stuff. I try and be more comedic on the shorts to pull people in with humor. So I don't know. My opinion on barrel length for 5.56 guns in urban environments. Just 5.56 in general. Me personally, I would never go any shorter than 11.5, 12, 12.5, 12.3. 10 threes, you could get away with 10 threes. But that's like the absolute shortest I would ever go is 10.3. I used to have a 7.5 inch, and like you can still get work done with it. There's nothing wrong with it. But that being said, you're just dumping so much unburnt powder out the end of the barrel that aside from just a badass little truck gun or super confined CQB type stuff, you're really cutting the nuts off of the 5.56 by going any shorter than the 11, 12 inch. And then the whole argument with, CQB, we talked about it on the last live stream, but just knowing your setup intimately, I can move almost as efficiently with my 18-inch as I could with a tiny like Mark 18 setup. It's that weapon flow, going high port compressed, low port compressed, over the shoulder. I did a video a long time ago on snapshots, snapshots / point shooting, and I think I'm going to retouch on that again on CQB distances, how you don't even need to have that gun in your shoulder to effectively put rounds on target. When we would do CQB stuff at my last job, I mean, you get to a certain distance and your processing speed and your reaction time is how you stay alive. So aiming, you're so close that aiming is like way down on the priority list because you're so close. You're going to hit as long as your fundamentals, your posture, all that all comes into play. If your muscle memory and your posture and your fundamentals are all locked in, then you can confidently say you don't have to aim and know exactly where you're going to hit. Haters gonna hate because they aren't doing the things. Probably gear snobs too. Yeah, gear snobs are bad. Unwilling to get scratches and dings on their gear when they go to the range. Yep. People that are scared to paint their stuff. Seattle Urban, I run a 7.5. Also have the options, but the 7.5 for me, I can run from driver's seat. It's not meant for distance, and I understand that. Yeah, that's my argument with the 7.5 is like as long as you know the limitations, then it works just fine. It's that goes for any firearm. That's like trying to ask a gun that's meant for something super close. That's like asking somebody to make a 1,200-yard shot with a shotgun. Like, that it can't do it. It wasn't built for that. So as long as you know your limitations, and you train those limitations, then you're just fine. My 7.5, I don't think I even really stretched it past 100 really, but I could consistently hit 100. And for SHTF, doo doo hits the fan. Like even with my 18-inch, I'm not going to be making shots past the distance of running away. That's always been my argument. If you can run away, run away. They're like, yeah, I can I can put shots on target up to 900 meters with this, and this. And it's like, yeah, okay, well, I hope you hit the dude in the dome first shot because now you just took that chance. And if any of his homies are around, now they know where you're at. And you just gave up everybody's position, so good luck with that. With that 7.5, do you have one of those law folders on it? My 7.5, I was using one of those Screaming Pigs, the blast mitigator that throws everything forward. .762 by 39 to be better than 5.56 at 300 yards and in. Dude, it's just how much you train with it. People want to have that argument on which one's better, and it's like they're both guns, and you pull the trigger, and they both go bang. If all you have is a 7.62 and you train with that thing like crazy, and you know where all your holds are between 300 and in, then yeah, you're probably going to be more effective than a dude rocking a 5.56 that don't know any of his holds. Because you know where to put it to freaking apricot somebody. So, now ballistically, I'm not a scientist. Like, I've seen the effects of 7.62, I've seen the effects of 5.56. It all depends on where you hit. They do the same thing. We used to shoot pigs with 7.62, and we buy those cheap FMJ tool ammo rounds, and we would lock them up in a vise and then take an angle grinder and grind off half the projectile and then use a drill bit, tiny drill bit, and drill all the way through the projectile and make homemade, almost like hollow points, but it was the entire projectile was hollow. So depending on the size of the hole we made, you could literally turn it upside down and dump powder out. But I've seen the ballistic effects of that on pigs when we'd go out there and get into a big sounder of freaking pigs, and dude, it is absolutely devastating. Oh my goodness. Look at that little baby. Alright.
It's a big one.
Mm-hmm. Little trash panda. Got a bail. Alright, man. Have a good one. What kind of changes should we consider for rapidly changing environments? I don't want the dog over here. Thank you. What do you mean rapidly changing environments? Like weather? Going from urban to rural? Specify on that one a little bit. Urban to rural. Tactically, the main thing is going to be your distance of possible engagements. So urban, everything's congested up really, really close. You've got a lot of cover, a lot of concealment. When you move out to rural, strategically, your distances of engagement are going to open up to where you're potentially getting engaged from further out. But then I'm just thinking about my area, and you start to lose a lot of cover. There's still lots of concealment, but concealment doesn't offer any protection. So you've got, brush, trees, stuff like that that can hide you, but not necessarily protect you. You just got a lot more open ground to cover. So um, with rural, if you know you're going somewhere rural, the we'll say doo doo's hit the fan, and you're kind of forewarned about it. You know you're going into that area. Best thing to do is find a map, or if we still have Google Earth and Google Maps and all that, zoom in to where you're going, and then slowly zoom out and look around the area. Look for major highways, um, large grouping of homes, just anywhere that you would naturally find people. But then start looking at resource hubs, to where if anybody was looking for gas, water, food, where they might congregate at, those are your potential ambush points. That's how I build all my maps out and stuff like that. Look for areas of cover, areas of concealment if you can, water sources that are nearby. A lot of staying ahead of the curve and being prepared is honestly thinking outside the box, but then also playing the what if game. And playing the what if game and being paranoid are two completely different things. Playing the what if game, you could do that while you're driving down the road every single day. What if this road was blocked off? How do I get home? You know, while you're shopping for groceries with your family. What if while I was in the back of the store, I heard gunfire at the front of the store? Where are my nearest exits? How do I get out? How do I protect my family? What would I do? Yes, exactly, CW. Wargaming is healthy. Wargaming is staying ahead of the curve and thinking outside the box. You ever tried to game the game? I don't know what you mean by that. Boy, you be throwing out these like left field questions. Um, Wargaming mentally, you can think about anything and everything, and it just gets you in that mindset to where it's like exercising. When you first get into it, you struggle, and it's hard. But then the more you exercise and the more repetitions you get, it gets easier, and you get stronger, and you get better. Same thing with the wargaming and playing the what if game. Now, when doo doo actually hits the fan and you're caught right in the middle of it, um, all the nitty gritty details are going to slip through the cracks, and you're not going to remember everything. But the same basic fundamentals of knowing your exits when you go in a store, and if you're in a shady part of town or a shady establishment, watching people's hands. One of the things that's a red flag for me here in Texas is if I go in a store in the middle of July, August, and I see somebody come in wearing a hoodie, I'm watching that person like a hawk. I don't care if that's your favorite hoodie or not. You don't wear hoodies in July or August in Texas. unless you're smogging the nog or you're up to something. So stuff like that. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. I don't know exactly what you mean by game to game, but hopefully that answered it, maybe. I'm going to press another button. Stand by. I'm glad to see that most of y'all voted for Metallica. Thank you very much. We can continue to be friends. If you voted for Megadeth over Metallica, I will pray for you. Too short on my description. Well, I'll add that later. So yeah, doing the Glock Dagger hybrid video coming up, and then the Dagger Micro review, that one's coming up. I've got a entire dry fire range excursion episode coming up. That one I think is going to be either really cool or people are going to make fun of it. Is 20% of body weight for gear still the standard? I've heard it thrown around a lot. Um, I don't know. I You definitely don't want to go too heavy. Obviously, like the lighter that you can be, the better. Some people carry the kitchen sink around, and that's going to potentially slow you down. But now, I hush, dog. I immediately thought of, like bugging out or moving to a safe location on foot. So you've got like a 80-liter ruck on and a chest rig and your rifle, maybe a battle belt, like that type stuff. If you're talking about just straight combat gear, whatever you want to call it, offensive gear, um, straight offensive gear, I've always been a proponent of being as light as possible. So one of my previous jobs that I've mentioned before, I was part of can't go into too much in depth because I'll get in trouble. But um, I worked for I was contracted security for the Nuclear Regulatory Commission for a nuclear power plant, and I was part of the force on force training element that would go in and test the security detail on site. And we would do that using Miles equipment. And they would be logged into all their positions, ready to go with their defensive plan, their defensive strategy. And then my job was to help create and come up with a plan to infiltrate, breach, get in, make our way as far in as possible to the facility. And then we had set target sets on how to sabotage. And depending on direction of attack and all that stuff, would be a different target set. And so we would get completely kitted out with not only our primary weapon and all the ammo for that, but then On top of that, we would have to carry uh, all of our charges for breaching, anti personnel, all that stuff. We would have to carry all those charges on us. They're mock charges, obviously. Um, but we would have to physically carry all those things on us to show that we did it. And then it wasn't all just, make believe, breaching tools, all that stuff. So we would be loaded down with all that crap. And then on top of that, we would have to wear the Miles equipment, which was a vest tethered into your belt and then tethered into a halo that would go on our bump helmets. And the restriction of movement and the degradation of actual foot speed with carrying all that stuff on, it's doable. And all the military dudes that train with that actively, like every single day, like yeah, of course they're gonna make it look easy because they're literally carrying it around every single day. But if you're a working father and husband, and you don't have the time, money, or patience to train all day every day with all that stuff on, dude, it's gonna wear you down hardcore. And so running all those drills, doing all that stuff really showed me uh, the effectiveness of mobility and speed, because without going into too much detail, because it's classified information, but basically in order to get onto these sites, it's a big game of high speed peekaboo. And so you have people from potentially elevated positions with huge fields of view that already know that you're coming because you've detonated a breach charge to get through a fence, so they already know where you're coming from and where you're at. Now you have all this open ground to cover, lugging all this stuff, and I don't know how many times I got waxed just because it's slow and can't move, can't get good shots off because I was restricted by all that gear. But the few times that I got to go in like super slicked up with hardly anything on, those were the times that I had the most success because I was the fastest. And if you're a generally fast individual, boy, you would be amazed at. I mean, it's an already proven tactic: speed and violence of action. If you are fast and pissed off and you know how to fight and you can move around the battlefield quickly, dude, you will 100% wreck shop. 100%. Like, as long as you've got a good situational awareness of where everything's at and you know how to shoot, move, and communicate quickly, it's game over, dude. Especially against people that are not a professional adversarial force. You're going to throw that OODA loop on the bad guys, and then it's game over. Especially if you have, more than just yourself, a small group of well trained, concerned citizens, and y'all all are on the same page and have the same basic knowledge of how to fight together. It's game over, dude. And that's just long distance to medium distance engagements where the adversarial force is behind defensive positions. When it comes to straight one-on-one CQB, yeah, it's, I don't know. If you're trying to kick in a door with a team and someone's in that house and they've got it barricaded up and like they know you're coming and their life is on the line, that's when CQB is a crapshoot. And you better hope and pray that you got a crap ton of flashbangs or frags, something that can give you that um, handicap on getting in, give you that edge. Because if you go in raw dogging it, yeah, it's going to be an uphill battle. But I guess what I'm saying is just like straight one-on-one playing, level playing field, CQB, civilian on civilian. If you know your tactics, dude, it's shooting fish in a barrel. So that was a very long-winded answer to yeah. Try and be as lightweight as possible. Now, like what I've got in the title, camping. Me and my family are going camping tomorrow, and even though it's going to be, hey, could you be a little louder with drinking? Even though it's going to be recreational camping, anytime you go out, it's a good opportunity to test your gear and find out what you really need, what you don't. So to the best of my ability, I have my pack weeded out to where it's just the necessities. But tomorrow, I'm gonna run it through the gauntlet and see if there's any changes that need to be made. Naming the game, knowing what's going to happen before it did. Saying some of my old command staff says during field exercises, it seemed similar to your explanation of wargaming. Calling the ball. That's the thing. You wargame enough, you play the what if game enough, and if you pay attention to your surroundings and current events and history, you can call it. Um, we talked about it on the last live stream, and I'll say it again. I'm not a gambling man, but if I were gonna put some money down, I would on the fact that I think something catastrophic is going to happen this year before the election with the way things are going. You know, they don't want scary orange man in that office so badly that I think that they will literally throw the country into darkness in order to keep him out. And so, with these open borders and all these military age males from Syria and all these other countries flooding in, like I'm already wargaming. So, and I think it was Hillary Clinton that said, "Never let a good tragedy go to waste." And so something's gonna pop off, whether it's COVID 4.0, whatever we're at. They're gonna try and use something to not let go of the power that they've got. I've heard that I haven't looked it up to see if it's true, but apparently during times of war or if we declare a national state of emergency, the president does not have to give up presidential powers or he can suspend an election. And so my running theory is that they've been pumping in these immigrants from the Middle East, all these terrorist groups, they're flooding them in and I think they're positioning them throughout the United States as best they can. And when the time comes, they'll send out a text message that says it's go time. There's going to be some sort of catastrophic event, some black swan event, and that's going to give the current administration the leverage they need to declare national emergency and not let go. I think it'll happen a couple of weeks before the election, so sometime in October. Not to mention the power grid. Literally every other state other than Texas is all tied into the same grid. Not to say that Texas is immune from attack, but Texas has its own power grid. The two the two nuke plants that we've got in Texas, there's four containments. Between those two, they power about 50 to 60% of Texas by themselves. And then the rest of it is petroleum and fossil fuels, solar, wind. So um, I think that something could possibly happen to the power grid. A lot of people don't realize that, when the grid's cut off, you don't just lose lights. You don't just lose the ability to charge your phone, but most everybody's water runs off of power. So now water's gone, and you take water away from people for a week, and you've got straight chaos. Absolute chaos. You take water away, and it's going to be Mad Max real quick. That's why any of you guys, um, if you have a gutter system on your house, the downspout to where it drains, uh, if you can get you some, you can use the large Rubbermaid trash cans at Walmart, or if you can get your hands on some like 55-gallon blue barrels, get you some of those, and then you can find that it's not rubber, but it's like those extendable bending hoses, whatever you want to call it. They have attachments that will attach onto your gutter system's downspout, and then you can redirect all that rainwater into those barrels. And you can set it up real nice to where it's filtered. Like I've got two 55-gallon barrels outside hooked up to mine, and they both have spigots on them. They're not completely sealed systems, so they're not filtered or anything, but we have enough filtration devices, fire, all that stuff. Like as long as you have the water itself, you can get all the bad juju out of it if you need water that badly. So just having the water in the first place is the main thing. So if y'all have got gutters, that might be something you look into. You can get into it pretty cheap. You can even do the same thing if you don't have gutters. Get you a piece of tin about the size of a sheet of cardboard, or not cardboard, plywood, or you can even use a piece of treated plywood. Build you some rims, not rims, edges on it, and then build a platform on it to where it kind of lifts it up and at an angle to where all the water that it collects will drain off one corner. Uh, uh, and then put your barrel down there at that corner. You'll be able to collect rainwater that way. But water is definitely something that you need to make sure you're stocked up on. Um, food, but then food goes bad. I always have a really hard time prepping on food because, like, I've got bug out buckets filled with rations and food and stuff like that that it just sits and it's there if we need it, but there ain't no telling if some of the stuff in it has gone bad or not. So, like, we try and stay stocked up as good as possible, but know what kind of wildlife is in your area, what kind of resource hubs that you have near you. Um, Start watching videos on how to skin out small game, stuff like that. Fishing, like just old world bushcraft skills. If you're living in a urban environment like a big city, I unless you get some previous intel and you can bail out before something bad happens, that's just going to be a big giant game of winging it. You know, the answer is always situation dictates, but if I was in a big city and something crazy happened, to the best of my ability, I think what I would do is probably hunker down a hot minute. So like maybe a week. That gives all the morons time to go out and do their dumb stuff and kind of sort themselves out, so to speak. And then when the dust settles from that, then you can kind of poke your head out and make your move. Because you got all the people that are going to try and bail out of the city all at the same time. It's going to get all congested. It's just bad news all around. That's why I'm glad I don't live in a big city. Never will. So, I kind of shared with y'all some upcoming videos I got. Y'all, I'm always down for any ideas y'all have on content. What's some stuff that y'all would like to see or share or learn more about? I'm always down to learn stuff. I don't know everything. Handfuls in the suburbs maintained in America, I believe, would be the most common. Yep, 100% agree with that. And that's what we talked about on the last live was people in not in the Goliath killers community, but just kind of in the tactical Second Amendment community. There's a lot of snobs. There's a lot of shit talking back and forth, and people hating on each other. And it's like, dude, we need to genuinely band together. We need to be mentors to one another and have that open mind to always learn as much as we can and to always extend the hand of friendship first because you never know, there might be a day that you need somebody's help. And if doo doo hits the fan, I'm gonna much rather be glad that I made a bunch of friends instead of a bunch of enemies. You got these dudes that think they can be a lone wolf and take the world on by themselves, and it's like, good luck. Shelly, is that the redheaded sex demon? Make a move on your guy friend for a wet French kiss in a survival context. Of course, asking for a friend. I miss you too, Shelly. I have a phone. You have my number. We can arrange a play date. When doo doo hits the fan, when do you go in for a wet French kiss? Is this urban or rural? Oh man, my mustache is pretty big, so you'll have to fight through that. It's like kissing a broom. It's me. Everybody else in here is like, what the heck is going on? Mm-mm-mm. Tell them about that time you showed me your butthole. Are you at work, Shelly? Different families waving at each other from their picket fence is near non existent. However, I will remain faithful that everyone would come together during times of crisis and most all without it. It still exists. Um, it's not as prevalent it as it used to be, and I think it's because a lot of people are scared of each other. Um, I am thankful that I live in a small town where I know my neighbors. They have kids the same age as my kids. They all play together. You know, they have sleepovers. We have sleepovers here. Like, it still exists. It's just kind of rare. But, I mean, you remember when 9/11 happened, and it sucks that it takes a tragedy to pull everybody together, but that's exactly what happened. Like, the United States had never been so united and on the same page as when, on 9/12 of that year. You're in Cass. Hey, hit the hot mic me while I'm live. 101. Come in. Breaker 19. Hit the hot mic and I'll go. Sung to hai. Line 4. And then watch Montgomery absolutely flip out. Who are you in Cass with? Jose Shu. Line 2. Jose Shu. Line 2. Dad? So obviously you have your headphones in because she doesn't want to hear or see me. Dad? Is that you? Oh man. Let's see updates on Sightmark stuff. My pro staff manager should be back in the office Monday, and I'm gonna bug the absolute crap out of him. And I think it was D Hawk that asked about it last time. The next thing that I'm supposedly getting for T&E is the Wraith 4K uh, digital night vision. I'm getting 2 units of that. Headphones, yeah, LOL. Sang Tu Hai. Line 4. I'm going to start another poll that says, do gingers have souls? What do you need? Yeah. What do you need?
Good night.
Are you going to sleep? Blah. I'll come hug you in a minute. Shelly, you want to go hiking tomorrow? If you're still watching. Also, has Quillen bought anything crazy lately? Any cannons? What's he into now? I think last time he was into, oh gosh, what was it? Bro, I can't even remember. He's been through motorcycles, Civil War. He got that boat. I can't remember what the last thing was he went through. Sung too high, line 4. All right, well, everybody went quiet, so I'm probably finna bounce. Not in between shifts. Maybe next weekend. And no, he's just into Civil War stuff right now, buying uniforms for that. Just a goober. Oh man. Well, boy, we need to hang out sometime, catch up. We got a lot to catch up on. I'm not a little boy anymore. I'm a man. Definitely need to go shoot sometime. That's for sure. I gotta buy some more ammo though. I'll be running low. Maybe we'll have Raven out. Raven or Callahan. Get them to come shoot with us. Show us how it's done. Are you sending hearts? All right, boy. Well, I'm finna get off of here. Got a busy day planned for tomorrow. Yeah, definitely hit me up. We'll go do something. Hang out at the very least. Um, yeah. Other than that, bye. I love you. I will always love you. I hope you have an amazing night, packed full of excitement and good times. Everybody else that's watching, who are very confused right now, the person that's called Shelly, that's talking about the wet French kiss, that is my lover. He is a gentle, passionate lover. Bye.